Take a deep breath and just listen. It started like any other Friday. Quiet, a little boring, nothing out of the ordinary. It was seventh period calculus, and everyone was just waiting for the day to end. You know that feeling when the weekend is so close, but time just won't move. Our teacher, relaxed as always, decided to lighten the mood. So we started playing a game together on Sporkle. People were laughing, joking, just enjoying the moment. Everything felt normal. I remember the exact moment it changed. Right after my friend answered a question, the intercom suddenly turned on. A soft crackle, then the dean's voice came through. But something felt off. "This is not a drill. Lockdown immediately." The room went still. Our teacher quickly turned off the lights and calmly guided us to the back corner of the room. No panic, just quiet urgency. We sat close together, not saying a word. Moments later, the power went out. The silence became heavier. And then we heard it. A voice, far away at first. Someone screaming. It slowly got louder, echoing through the hallway. A few students began to cry softly. We all just listened, hearts racing, unsure of what was happening. Then there was a loud banging sound, lockers shaking somewhere outside, and a voice shouting, something angry, something broken. It was frightening, but we stayed quiet, just like we were told. After what felt like a long time, the noise slowly faded away. Everything became silent again. Eventually, the dean came back on the intercom, this time calmer. He explained that someone had entered the school and caused trouble at the front office. We were told to remain in our classrooms and stay safe. Later that night, we heard that the person had been found, hiding in a storage area. But before anyone could fully understand what happened, he was gone. No one really knows where he went. And even now, sometimes I think back to that moment, sitting in the dark, listening, waiting, and hoping everything would be okay. But the story didn't end there. Not for me. A few days later, things started to feel different. At first, it was small, almost unnoticeable. The hallway outside our classroom felt quieter than usual. Not peaceful quiet, but empty, like something was missing. Or maybe something was still there. People stopped talking about what happened. Teachers avoided the subject completely. It was like the whole school had silently agreed to forget. But I couldn't, because I started noticing things. Little things, like hearing footsteps in the hallway when there was no one there. Slow, uneven, dragging slightly. At first, I told myself it was just my imagination, until one afternoon, I stayed late after school. I was packing my bag, getting ready to leave, when I heard it again. Footsteps, right outside the classroom door. I froze. The hallway was supposed to be empty. Everyone had already gone home. The sound stopped, right in front of the door. I held my breath, waiting, listening. Then, a soft, almost gentle knock. 3 times. Not loud, not aggressive, just tap, tap, tap. My heart started pounding. I didn't move. I didn't answer. Seconds passed, then a voice, low, quiet, "Open up." It wasn't shouting this time. It was calm, too calm, and that's what made it worse. I slowly backed away from the door, every instinct in my body screaming at me not to go near it. Then, the door handle moved, very slowly, but it didn't open. It just shook slightly, like someone testing it, making sure it was locked. I grabbed my phone, hands shaking, ready to call someone, and then it stopped. Silence. Complete silence. I stayed there for what felt like forever, too scared to even breathe. Eventually, I forced myself to move. I ran out of the classroom, down the hallway, out of the building without looking back. The next day, I told one of the janitors what happened. He just stared at me for a moment, then said something I'll never forget. They never caught him, you know. I felt my stomach drop. He leaned a little closer, lowering his voice, and sometimes, at night, he comes back. I laughed it off at the time. I had to, because the alternative was too much to handle. But then, a week later, they found something on one of the classroom doors, scratched into the wood, deep, messy, uneven, like it was done in a hurry. 3 words, words I wish I never saw. I was here. But that wasn't the worst part, not even close, because a week later, something happened that I can't explain, something I wish I never saw. It was a normal school day, same classes, same faces, same building, but something felt wrong, like the air itself was heavier, like something was waiting. In the middle of class, there was an announcement. Not the dean, not a teacher, just static, then silence. Everyone looked at each other, confused. Then a voice came through, low, distorted, familiar. Open up. My blood ran cold. No one else reacted. No one. They just sat there like they didn't even hear it. I looked around, panicking. "Did you hear that?" I whispered. Nothing, no response, like I was the only one in the room who heard it. That's when I noticed something. The classroom door. Slowly, very slowly, it started to open. No one moved. No one even looked. I was the only one watching. The gap widened. Darkness filled the doorway. And then I saw him, standing there, the same man, red shirt, dark cap, but his face wasn't right. It looked wrong, too still, too empty, like he wasn't alive. He didn't move, he didn't speak, he just stood there, staring directly at me. And then he smiled, not normal, too wide, too slow, like it didn't belong on a human face. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't move, and then he stepped inside. No one reacted, no one noticed. He walked past the desks, slow, quiet, until he was right next to me. I could feel him. I could feel something cold right beside me. Then he leaned down, close to my ear, and whispered, "You let me in." My heart stopped. I shook my head, barely able to speak. "I didn't." He let out a soft, broken laugh, and then said, "You told me where the exit was." Everything hit me at once. The basement, the man, that day. I helped him escape. Before I could react, he grabbed my shoulder, hard, ice cold, and suddenly everything went black. Until I woke up, I was sitting at my desk. Class was normal, teacher talking, students writing, like nothing ever happened. I gasped, looking around. Everything looked fine, too fine. That's when I noticed something. My hands, they were shaking and covered in something dark, ink or something else. I looked down at the desk and felt my stomach drop. Carved into the wood, fresh, deep, messy, in my own handwriting.
I let him out. I ran to the mirror in the bathroom, hands trembling, heart racing, and when I looked up, I froze, because for just a second, my reflection smiled before I did.